Today we're going to be looking at how to change a linear equation from standard form, ax plus by equals c, into slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So, I'm going to show you a different way than you might have learned in class. We have our standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. Now a, b, and c are just integers, and a should not be negative or equal to 0. So that's our standard form. And one thing we can do is we can use shapes and colors to help identify those letters. So for example, I've got a triangle for A, I have a square for B, or a rectangle, and I have a circle for C. So when I'm looking for my slope-intercept form of my equation, what I'm going to use is, actually I'm going to take the opposite of A divided by b. That will give me my slope, and I will do c divided by b in order to get my y-intercept. And it can really be just that simple. So let's look at a couple examples. I'm going to set up my equation. Now, I know I've got my triangle for A. I've got my squares for B, and my circle for C. So I've got the opposite of A. The opposite of 3 is a negative 3. Now, I don't like to say negative A. I always like to say the opposite of A, because we all know that if this were to be negative, then the opposite of that would be a positive. So I say the opposite of A. The opposite of 3 is negative 3. And then we have 6. Over here we have 18 and 6. And all that's left to do now is to reduce these fractions and simplify this as much as possible. And I'll end up with y equals negative 3 divided by 6 is negative a half x, plus 18 divided by 6 is 3. So there we have it. Y equals negative a half x plus 3. Now that is slope-intercept form. Let's look at another example. I've got my triangle for A. I have my square for B, and notice how I'm including the sign, and then I have my circle for C. Okay. I've got my equation set up nicely. Now all I have to do is put in my numbers. The opposite of 12 is negative 12. My b value is negative 9. And then my c is 6. As we reduce our fractions, we get y equals, now negative 12 divided by negative 9 turns into a positive. Negative divided by negative is a positive. And when we reduce this, we end up with 4/3 x plus negative 2/3, because 6 divided by 9 reduces to negative, or 6 divided by negative 9 reduces to negative 2/3. So I end up with y equals 4/3 x minus 2/3. We all know that adding the opposite is the same as subtracting. Alright, next example. 18x plus 3y is equal to negative 9. I'm going to try to do this a little bit faster now. Right. I know that this is going to be the opposite of 18 divided by 3. I know this will be negative 9 divided by 3. If you're not sure why, go back and look at the first part of the video where we did the color coding with the shapes. This will end up being y equals negative 6x minus 3. Look how fast that is once we know our dividing. Negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. And it can really be just that easy. Now we're going to look at one last example. In this one, our a value is negative. Now, that really shouldn't happen for standard form, but we can still change this to slope-intercept form using the same rules that we've been doing. So this is going to be the opposite of a, or the opposite of negative 4, which is positive 4. And then I have negative 8. And then over here I have 8 and negative 8 again. Y equals negative a half x minus 1. And that's it. Hopefully you liked this video, and hopefully you can use those tools and tricks, keep some highlighters around, and be willing to draw some shapes on your paper. I think you can do it. Have a good day.